real. Oh, God.
What the hell is happening?
Hi, everybody. That's getting caught while the live red light goes on if you're doing a TV show.
Oh, my goodness.
This is moving the goalpost leftovers when Nick D shows up, I hope. That guy's Callan. I'm Nick. You just saw me for about 7 hours on here. But yes, we are here. Why is his comment up there and not down here?
Yes, it's called spotlighting, sir.
But where is the comment? I don't see it on my side.
I don't know. Maybe it's your browser.
Damn it. All right. I don't have the patience to deal with that right now. But yes, we are here. Nick D will join us eventually. I think he was looking for a laptop charger, I think. Maybe. But I can do the business stuff for him while we wait it out here. I'm totally thrown off guard right now because I just got caught like singing right before the stream started. So moving the goalpost leftovers is presented by Novig. Stop letting the house win. If you're tired of the poor odds and high take from traditional sports books, it's time to change the game. Enter Novig, the next generation in sports prediction. On Novig, you're not betting against the house. You're trading against real fans, which means you get up to 10 times better odds to win. It's smarter, faster, and more profitable. Ready to trade smarter? Sign up now and use promo code ETB Network, ETBNETWORK. You'll get 1,000 Novig coins and $5 in Novig cash just for joining, except for California. Download the Novig app and start trading against the crowd today. Novig, the fans' markets.
Thank you for the reminder.
That's actually today, isn't it?
Yes, on top of what's going to be happening in about 4 hours.
Wait a minute, you're supposed to make one last Novig play.
I think I already did. I think I lost it, so.
50,000 coins?
No, it wasn't for 50,000.
How many do you have left?
I probably have like 40,000 still left, honestly.
You should you should take 40,000 coins and just put it on Sunday Night Football. No, I'm serious. And what's the Broncos line tonight while we wait for Nicky? I'm posturing until he shows up.
Hang on. Denver by 5.5.
Oh, take Denver. Denver. Not even. You should just. They're going to be like 40,000 coins.
I have 49,000 left.
Do it. Do it. You could do a money line bet if you wanted to also, but it might be more fun to. What did you say it was 5.5?
Yeah.
Oh, they'll win. They'll definitely win. Do the 5.5. Oh, there he is.
All right. There I am.
Sorry, we're posturing about Novig plays while we're waiting for you to get here.
That's all you can do for 10 minutes?
Well, no, we were. I was fooling around and it went live while I was like just saying a bunch of garbage, so it caught me while I was going live. But he's got 49,000 Novig coins sitting in his account, and because it's leaving California today, he's got to use it.
Oh,
I just played 20,000 on SNF tonight.
No fun.
That way, when they leave, I actually won up a bunch of money.
Is it? But I don't know. Is that real money or not? I
have no clue.
It effectively is, though, right? Because you have to put in money.
You would think so. I know it.
Maybe. I don't know how that works.
I mean, it's kind of like how chips are real money in the casino. Like, it's not like you can't go to a store and buy groceries with casino chips.
Well, that's true. You're right.
That'd be a little weird if you tried to do that.
I can't argue with that logic, actually. But
it is effectively real money. It's just in chip form.
That's true. I did the Novik read. I'll get the other one out, and then you can do what you want to do. Do you want the reaction to the biggest stories in sports, beyond the scenes content, and up-to-the-minute updates from ETB? Then you need to join the conversation. We're not just one platform. We're everywhere you are. Follow ETB Network across all your favorite social media feeds. Get the latest scoops, clips, and more on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. It's easy to find us. Just search for @ETB Network on all platforms. That's ETB NETWORK. Don't miss a thing and follow ETB Network today. We did just break over 1,800 watch hours for a YouTube channel too. So first goal is 3,000. Second one is 4,000. So help us along that journey. So what do we have to talk about today? We have college football. We have Lane Kiffin, which is essentially LeBron James' decision part 2.
No, it's actually way worse than the decision. The decision, given everything that's gone on with the transfer portal and college coaches transferring in the middle of the season, the decision probably should never be talked about again. Because at least with the decision, he announced it on TV and drew a lot of attention to himself, but at least it was in the summer. It wasn't during the season. He wasn't on Cleveland about to go to the finals and then saying, "Oh, I'm leaving." That he didn't do that. So it's not the same thing.
I don't know. I just have an issue with the way this whole process went.
Of course. How can you not?
And I also have an issue with what the CFP BS they're about to pull because he left Ole Miss for LSU. So now they're talking about potentially taking 4 points off their total or whatever it said.
Yeah.
And I think that's BS, to be quite honest. Like you won with the coach. Just go the rest of the way. Don't penalize them. Don't penalize the team. It's not their fault.
Right. No. Like, it's a problem with the calendar, ultimately. Rick Pitino sent out a tweet that said, imagine if we were the potential 1 seed and I announced I was leaving in March. I mean, that's literally what it was. I mean, that's how absurd it is.
But penalizing them 4 to 5, whatever. What is it, like standings points or whatever they're talking about? Or
look, I think they have way less of a chance of winning without Lane Kiffin as the head coach. But I would say no. I don't think that. But Lane Kiffin might end up coaching, so who knows?
Well, from what I understand, he's done. Like they took him out of the playoff, the CFP. They said as soon as I forgot the name of the AD, but whoever the AD's been going viral because of the way he's been acting since this whole process has been going on. But he said, here's the deal. You took the job. Well, I'm effectively pulling you out of Ole Miss, effective immediately, and you're not coaching the team. Because you and Nick and Callan, you know this better than me in the college space, but he essentially wanted to coach the team all the way through. And then he was going to say, I'm going to pull the carpet out when I leave, and I'm going to take my players and my staff with me, which a bunch of them did, by the way, a ton.
All the recruits are going there as well. Eventually, portal's going to be, on fire when he goes to LSU, you name it.
And I saw someone like a huge 5-star commit decommitted from Ole Miss today also.
To go to LSU.
Oh, was it? Okay, I didn't
hear
that.
Yeah, this is like, I hope that this inspires change in the calendar. Because imagine if, like, a player had done this. Imagine if, like, Trinidad Chambliss had just said, I'm transferring to LSU next year. Right?
Players are doing it. It's called the transfer portal.
No. But it's not nearly as big of a deal as a coach doing it. Like, okay, it's true that players are doing it, and I'm against that too.
Me too.
It is way worse in my eyes if a coach like Lane Kiffin is doing it, because a coach is supposed to be a leader. So I'm against all of it happening, but it's like, look, if a player had done this, a star player, people would talk about, oh, NIL is ruining and the transfer portal ruining college football. And that's not the issue. It's the fact that you can do it in the middle of the season. Like, this is not an issue in any other sport, only in college football that they just can't figure out.
Can I backtrack to Saturday real quick when game day was in Eugene before Oregon hosted and before the sun was even up here on the left coast? Nick Saban had this to say on game day. He said in part about the Kiffin saga, none of this is fair to the players. This is not a Lane Kiffin conundrum. This is a college football conundrum. And Saban Ferber said, we need some leadership to step up and change the rules in a 2-part quote that was put out on Instagram, which I think probably goes a bit towards what DiMartino's kind of saying here in a way, or maybe it's, all of us in some way think, but I don't know how to feel about this, guys. This is something that I don't think we've seen be as, and I like the comparison though about LeBron in the decision. Have we really seen wall-to-wall coverage of a player or a coach in recent memory be as heavily covered media-wise, since the decision? I feel like that this one, though, was probably way off the rails because all we heard on Saturday and even part of Friday and then all of Saturday, every halftime show, they had Pete Thamel and or Marty Smith, who I don't know how he even got out of bed this morning and was able to cover the story. But like every game that they were going to halftime, they had some new story about what was going on with Kiffin and his, and what was going to happen. Then obviously he got, bombarded by questions after Ole Miss won the game over Mississippi State. He was asked by ESPN. I think he even called the Ole Miss reporter a hoe after the game was over on Saturday.
No. The reporter called him a hoe.
Yeah, the On3 reporter called him a hoe because of all the constant move around in his career of jumping from job to job.
And yet, though, today what happens? Lane Kiffin gets bombarded and booed by fans at the airport. So there's three things in life, Jack. There's three things, though, D. Mart and Morrison, that are true in life: death, taxes, and Lane Kiffin being bombarded at the airport, whether losing jobs on the runway or him being booed by the fan base. And I don't know enough about football anyway, but that's where I stand on it.
But you know what's funny about this? So people are giving, or he gave the reporter a hard time for calling him a hoe. How many jobs has he had?
He's been all over the place,
including the NFL for a few stops. I mean, so he has no right to hypocrisy.
No, I think the reporter was out of line.
I'm not saying the comment was out of line. That the journalistic integrity was thrown out the window many years ago. But my point is, for Lane to scoff at somebody for jumping from job to job, Lane has been doing that his whole career.
No, but that's not what. No. From my understanding, the reporter called him a hoe for bouncing from job to job.
Right, and I'm saying Lane has no grounds for that.
I don't exactly care about him bouncing from job to job. That's not the issue. The issue is that he's not dedicated to his team for the rest of the season. That's the issue. If he wants to leave and go to LSU, that's fine, but he should have to finish the season first.
Well, is anyone though surprised though that this would happen, but we don't see the coach live to the end of a season where as soon as he signs his life away, he loses his job?
It's the first time it happened with a playoff team, a team that could win the national championship. But it has happened. Brian Kelly didn't coach the bowl game. Brian Kelly and Lincoln Riley both left right around this time 4 years ago. So,
Brian Kelly's a whole different animal, if you ask me. But with Lane, I feel like he's too focused on what everybody thinks about him rather than doing his job. And it became a massive distraction. The players apparently inside the locker room were pissed off at the whole thing going on with Lane. And we should have known right away when he didn't agree to sign a new deal right away when some of the guys were coming back. We should have known right there that he was going to LSU.
By the way, he's had 6 head coaching jobs in 19 years. In
a lot.
Raiders, Tennessee football, SC, FAU, Ole Miss, LSU.
And if I remember correctly, when he went to the NFL, didn't he get thrown out of his NFL job for violations or something?
Nah, he sucked. He coached the Raiders.
I could be wrong. I mean, it was a long time ago. I don't remember. It was like 2007.
I think it was something with the Raiders when they had
07, 08. He was with the Raiders. Then he went to Tennessee for a year. That didn't work. He went to USC for 3 years. Yeah, but Florida Atlantic for 3 years, and then Ole Miss for 5. Now LSU.
I find it funny though that people are criticizing him like for jumping to the NFL and coming back. A certain somebody who's had a really amazing career at Alabama did the same thing.
Nick Saban.
So
no, I'm not criticizing. I don't think anybody's criticizing him for that. But
other people are.
Is anybody criticizing him for going to the NFL and coming back to college? I never heard that.
No.
Yeah, they are slightly.
I think people are just criticizing him for this particular move.
Well, first of all, when you're offered a 7-year deal in the range of close to $100 million, you would jump to that job in any instinct if it was offered to you. I mean, what did you say? LSU is a top 2 or 3 job in the country?
I mean, I don't know about that. It's hard to say because you also have a lot of pressure on you. I mean, the standards at LSU are as high as anybody they're as high as they get. The standards at LSU. It's like even by SEC standards, the standards are very high. I mean, they might even be higher than Alabama's standards. So I think it's a very good job, but there certainly are a lot of drawbacks.
I just find it hilarious the amount of social media attention this topic got, and how crazed people got over this. Like, we see coaches jump way more now than they do in the past.
But
like,
we've never seen it like this.
Yeah, that went to my point though earlier. Is like, when have we ever seen a coach in any sport, mainly probably college football in the SEC, get this much media attention? We're getting every halftime show on ESPN or ABC. Lane Kiffin update. Here's Pete Thamel.
Well,
here's McMurphy.
This is a bigger deal than the Brian Kelly and Lincoln Riley hires because their teams were finished. I mean, They went to a bowl game, but they weren't playoff teams. This is a playoff team. They have a chance to win the national championship.
Well, so I don't know if I go that far, but
they do though. I don't think they're going to win. But the point is that they're a top 12 team. Any of those 12 teams could win it all. We don't know.
No, that's true.
And so that's why it's a bigger deal. I mean, Notre Dame and USC were both good teams, but there was only four playoff teams at the time. So they went to a meaningless bowl game. It's completely different.
I mean, now we're talking about 16 possibly in the next 2 years.
Oh, come on, Nick. Fox Sports wants a 24. They've been doing a 2014 bracket all year.
I don't know what's worse.
Crazy. Hypothetical.
I don't know what's worse. The college football playoff going to 24 or March Madness going to like 100 and something, which they've said which would be insane.
Yeah. I think actually, I think March Madness going to college, the NCAA tournament going to 100 something would be worse.
I mean, you're going to end up with all the like single A, I call it, level schools that don't belong in the tournament. I mean,
they'll go to 76. That'll be it.
That's even too many. And where are you getting all these broadcast crews to do these games?
Netflix and Paramount Plus and Peacock, HBO Max.
By the way, another interesting thing, Nick, which I think you'll find intriguing. I read a story from Front Office Sports that 25% of the coaching firings or buyouts were from the SEC this year.
Oh, 25% were from the SEC.
Yeah.
Well, that's like 1/4 of all the conferences.
So I don't know.
That doesn't sound that disproportionate.
No, I don't know. That's what they said. I think they mean out of the total, whatever the firings were.
I mean, that doesn't surprise me this year because a lot of the coaches that got fired were in the SEC. Auburn, you look at Billy Napier, Hugh Freeze, Brian Kelly. I mean, all the guys that were kind of on the hot seat this year, a lot of them were in the SEC and they all got fired. It seems like everybody on the hot seat this year got fired in the middle of the season, other than Mike Norvell. He's the only one that didn't get fired.
And somehow he got his job, or he kept his job, and they're allowing him an extension.
Stunned that they let him keep his job.
Also, just another, and I said that, believe it or not, I said this on ETB 2 or 3 months ago. I said Pat Fitzgerald is going to end up coaching again somewhere. And now he's the new head coach of Michigan State.
Big Ten.
Yeah, going back to the Big Ten, but a better job at the Big Ten than Northwestern.
I mean, that situation was ugly. I remember that whole thing happening. And
I remember bits and pieces, but yeah, I knew it was very public though, too.
But he ended up winning because he sued, right? And he ended up winning a settlement or whatever for that. But
I think so.
And then the awkwardness of him going back to Northwestern when they did the alumni event on the field. Like, why would you go back?
Northwestern,
awkward.
Remember when Michigan State used to be good?
Yes, I do it. I remember them more for basketball than I do for football.
I'm talking about they were good in football.
Yeah, D'Antonio, that was a great coach. So I think he got hit with sanctions, I think, if memory serves me correct.
You are correct about that.
Yeah,
you are correct about that.
But I remember them more for college basketball than I do for college football.
Izzo's been there for God knows how long.
Well, they're consistently good in basketball. In football, though, they haven't been good. They haven't. I could be mistaken, but they haven't been a good football team in 10 years.
It's been a while. Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it's been 10 years since Connor Cook was the quarterback. They haven't been a good football team.
Maybe I'm misremembering. Kirk Cousins was there.
Yeah.
No. They've been good since then. They were good in like the mid to 2010s, but I would say 2016 and on. 2016, they were a terrible team, and they haven't really been good since.
That's a good point.
They really haven't been good since. Maybe I'm misremembering, but yeah, they really haven't been good since. They won the Big Ten that year. That was the year that they beat Ohio State with their backup quarterback.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And then they went to the playoff and they got destroyed by Alabama. I mean, that was
38-0.
That was one of the worst losses in Ohio State history. The only loss worse that I remember was last year against Michigan, but that loss was terrible. They lost at home to Michigan State's backup quarterback. And it cost them a playoff spot too. And they could have won it all that year, I think.
By the way, speaking of Ohio State, would you say that was a massive victory for Ohio State over Michigan in the big game?
They got the monkey off their back.
First of all, I don't think it's that massive of a victory. The reason I say it wouldn't be that massive of a victory is because it would have been such a massive loss. So the way I see it is that if it's such a horrible, massive loss, then it can't be that good of a win. You know what I mean?
I mean, they've beaten them, in 6 years?
4 years in a row. 4 years in a row.
It's been 4 years in a row. However, in fairness, all 3 out of those 4 years, they were very neck and neck. Michigan was a very good team. And the only really bad loss they had against Michigan in recent years was last year when they were 3-touchdown favorites.
Maybe it's just Michigan fans are some of the most obnoxious college football fans in the country. Because for some reason, they hold that rivalry over
Ohio State fan. Look, I think that Michigan fans were doing that within the past year because they had nothing on Ohio State. Most of the time, for most of Michigan and Ohio State's existence, Michigan has had nothing on Ohio State. I mean, at least in recent years, Ohio State's almost always been better. There's been a few years where Michigan's been better, but almost every year Ohio State is the winner of the rivalry. And Michigan fans can't stand that.
By the way, I did laugh also because I think Bryce Underwood went on Rich Eisen's show and said he was going to destroy Ohio State, and he had one of the worst performances he could possibly have.
Ha, ha, ha.
It was really bad.
Wait, well, what that year was 2 years ago. What year was that? 3 years ago?
For what?
When Bryce Young said he would destroy Ohio State.
No. I said Underwood. I said Bryce Underwood.
Bryce Underwood. I was like Bryce Young. Bryce Underwood. Yeah.
No, he recently before the game went on Eisen's show.
I was going to say I don't think Bryce Young ever.
No, I know. No. Bryce Underwood.
Yeah, Bryce Underwood. I might have misheard you.
No, but he went 8 for 18, 63 yards, and an interception and no touchdowns. I mean,
Ohio State has a really good defense.
They do, big time. And
I think Ohio State's the best team in the country. I really do.
By the way, how does that $12.5 million NIL check look now?
Look, it was his first year.
That's a lot of money, though. Not to perform.
Money.
Here's the thing, though.
Money.
You got to spend money in order. Look where Michigan was last year compared to this year. It's night and day.
So essentially, we're treating this as NFL free agency, is what you're telling me.
Well, here's the thing, though. College athletes have certainly football players have the marketability of professional athletes. I mean, who's worth more money, a college football star quarterback or a minor league baseball player?
Well, that's apples and oranges. Of course,
the minor league baseball players are professional athletes. Like this dedication to amateurism, I think, is stupid.
Well, first of all, if we're going to do all this NIL nonsense, then just remove the portal and put in some kind of system that allows players to move from team to team. Because this portal nonsense means
that's what the portal is.
No, I'm saying I don't want this whole portal nonsense. Okay, he officially went in the portal, and now he's got to wait for whatever. Just take it out. You want to go to
my only issue with the portal is the calendar. That's my issue. Players should not be allowed. And now here's the thing with players leaving is that a lot of times they have to because otherwise they miss out on their opportunity. The transfer portal shouldn't start until after the season ends.
Thank you.
Wait a minute.
I've long believed that.
This is the discussion, Nick, that you and I had about March Madness, where what was it last year that there was a player from one of the top schools,
Michigan.
It was Michigan, I think, that got signed a player, and they were still competing in the tournament for March Madness.
Wait, Michigan signed a player?
No, I think the player was moving or is transferring out of Michigan during the course of the tournament run. Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
The way I see it is, if you're until you're out of the tournament, you can't make any moves. That's how
agree.
You should
no, but it should. That means, but that just means that the portal shouldn't start until after the tournament ends. That's how it should be. Just like
that's what I'm saying.
This is not an issue anywhere else. This is not an issue in professional sports. You don't see players leaving their team when they're in a playoff run. Like this has to be fixed.
Unless you get cut. Unless you get cut from a team, but that's rare.
That's completely different.
Well, that would be like professional sports having free agency in the middle of the season. Where
why don't we just call it college sports free agency? Because that's essentially what we're doing.
No, it's worse than that, though. It's worse than that. There's no rules behind it. And in professional sports, we have a trade deadline every year.
Well, there's no rule for NILs.
No, but but the issue is not NIL. No. NIL is not the reason. Is not exactly the reason that players are allowed to leave.
Part of it. I think a lot of it is like kids are leaving for playing time.
Yeah, but
they're not getting it probably with one program.
But NILs
that would be like saying the issue with professional sports is that they get contracts.
No,
the issue is not the contracts. The issue.
Wait, time out. So NIL is kind of like a salary in professional sports. That's essentially what an NIL deal is. So if you're going to eventually, when they get to professional sports and they're going to get a salary for what they're doing, if we're going to make everything else like professional sports by the time they get there, just turn it into salaries, because that's essentially what they're doing. The only reason they can't call it a salary is because then the school would, God forbid, have to provide benefits and insurance.
And two schools are already.
Schools do provide insurance, from my understanding.
Not necessarily, because two programs in men's college basketball over the last several years tried to form a labor union. In Dartmouth and USC said no, get out of here, go away.
Well, because the school has to approve it.
And they shot it down with like 14 yes votes and 1 no vote, or whatever it was.
Well, here's the thing, though. The issue is that schools cannot pay athletes directly due to Title IX rules.
No, that's what I'm saying. They can't do it because they would have to follow all the legal mandates.
Even though everybody knows that makes no sense at all. That
it's a cover-up.
The idea that like the women's rowing team at Alabama should get paid as much as the football team is obviously stupid. I mean, the football team produces far more revenue than the rowing team does. So why should the rowers get paid as much money as the football players? Like,
this is funny. This is funny you bring this up, because Callan and I talk about this on Press Row all the time about revenue for colleges and how if they don't have football, there's no way that their athletic programs will survive because they need football. But there are certain parts of the country where they don't need football necessarily to, like the school he works at
not every college has football.
We have a 1AA football program at my university, but men's basketball, because of our conference and the West Coast Conference, is the main driving engine of the conference revenue.
Right. Even if you look at traditional basketball schools like Kentucky and Louisville and Kansas, a lot of ACC schools,
UNC,
like, they still make more money off of football. Like, every school wants to be a football school rather than a basketball school.
Go ask UNC, because they desperately pushed $20 million of NIL money because Bill Belichick somehow made it.
And how did that go? Huh?
There's more money in football. And really, just the point that I want to make about this whole thing with Lane Kiffin is I just think it's disgraceful. Like, I think it's disgraceful if a head coach who's supposed to be leading the team bails on his team right before a playoff run, which, by the way, this team has never made. This team has never made the playoffs. This team has never been this good in my lifetime. I mean, I've seen them.
And especially, though, when you've been there for 5 years and you've built the program from like square one, and you're about to put the roof on the house and sign the mortgage and the lease off and, move in. No, I'm going to go to Baton Rouge and inherit that dumpster fire of a program right now. Give me a break.
It looks like when Jim Harbaugh left, Jim Harbaugh won a national championship and then left to go to the NFL.
There's tomfoolery involved, though.
Wait a minute. I was going to say that's a much different situation, because there were recruiting violations up the wazoo that happened.
And a lot of tomfoolery was involved too with Mr. Stallions.
And didn't he get like an 7 or 8 years?
Yeah, 10-year show cause, I think, is what he got for that.
Look, you know what? Okay, here's how every every very good. Here's the thing with college football coaches, though. All the great ones, they usually end up leaving in the midst of a scandal. You look at Jim Harbaugh, Pete Carroll, Urban Meyer. People forget about that one. The only one that didn't leave in the midst of a scandal was Nick Saban. He left because of NIL.
Well, yeah, Nick Saban's made it clear for the last 3 or 4 years that fuck this NIL shit. I'm not doing any of it. And
I think, and real quick, I think a lot of coaches, not just in college football, but other sports, though, who've had long legendary coaches like Ariema, for example, or Patty Gasco coaching Oklahoma softball. I've long said you begin to wonder now, though, fellas, how much time is left in that hourglass before all these, greats, titans of coaching.
It's over.
Say, I'm fed up with the portal. I'm fed up with NIL. I'm fed up with this and that. And then they all end up retiring.
I disagree. I think most of them will adjust. I think Nick Saban didn't want to adjust because he was so accustomed to the old system, and he's also like 70 years old. So I think if Nick Saban was like 20 years younger, he would have probably adjusted to it. But as you get older, it's harder to adjust to new things. So I think that's a big part of it too.
Well, I was going to say they've all had to adjust to the portal. That's always been a thing. It's the NIL that some of these coaches can't stand, because it used to be like the Alabamas and the LSUs and in other sports like Duke and North Carolina. Like, they're the big schools across college basketball and college football. The big schools were the ones that got the big athletes, and then whoever fell below it went to the other schools. Now, with all this ridiculous amounts of NIL money, you can convince a top athlete to go to a school they think they would never go to. Now.
Right. And by the way, though, that's a really good thing about NIL, because in Saban's era at Alabama before NIL, he would have like third string players that were better than the first strings of many teams. So the competition was so unbalanced that a program like Alabama would never be able to be as dominant as they were under Saban, under NIL, because you can just convince the second string players to go play somewhere else for NIL and for more money and for more playing time. So I actually think that that's a good thing about NIL, which is that, like, it's a little bit more of an equalizer. I mean, what did people complain about so much? Under the Saban era of Alabama, people complained so much about it's going to be Alabama and Clemson in a national championship every year. Like, that's not an issue anymore.
Yeah, but here's the ironic part of that before the NILs. Why would some of these athletes go to Alabama or Clemson or Auburn or all the schools knowing that they already have first and second string guys? It doesn't make sense. In theory, that doesn't make sense, because you're going to be sitting.
Because they're premier programs, and you mean you're talking about before NIL?
Yes.
Well, because they also don't necessarily know that they're going to be third string players. Like, they get there and then they find out they're going to be third stringers.
Yeah, but they have
like that. But also
of players is what I mean.
Also, they want to, because they want to play under Nick Saban, and that's an amazing opportunity.
Right, but if they don't play, that's a whole nother issue, though.
But the point is, they don't necessarily go there knowing that they're not going to play. They go there thinking that they're probably going to play, but they don't. They don't necessarily go there thinking they're going to be third stringers.
I mean, maybe it's just a resume thing. Also, saying you say, "Oh, I was on a Nick Saban coached Alabama team, so maybe they'll pick me higher than some of the other teams if I was on there as a starter." I mean,
look, he was great at producing NFL players.
Oh, yeah,
that's true. I'm not arguing that. He's one of the best at it. But
I think that's the reason why. But the point is that now if they have a chance to play at maybe a lesser school, and they can make more money off of it, well, that's a lot of competition for programs like Alabama.
That's true. I mean, I can't deny that. I just find it odd that before the NILs, people were willing to sit third and fourth strings sometimes, before, like, under LSU or under Alabama or Florida or wherever you want to throw in the top schools, USC. I mean,
because they don't go in there thinking I'm going to be a fourth string player.
I mean, fair, but you can tell by ratings of players. Like, the rating system means everything more than ever today. Yeah. How many stars are you as an athlete? I mean,
4 stars, 5 stars.
But Gallon, when you were talking about like coaches wanting to like leave, I really think it's more accurate to say that like most of the really good coaches, I think, are going to adjust.
Yeah,
And
no,
also,
I think they. I think. Yeah,
I think that there would be just different. Like the best head coaches might just be different head coaches. Like some head coaches are better with NIL than others. Like Dabo Sweeney and Nick Saban, they didn't want to deal with NIL. Dabo Sweeney, like
and
Clemson's
Dabo didn't want to deal
program,
with the portal either for the longest time either until recently. I think, if memory serves me
exactly.
correct.
Like Clemson, they don't want to deal with like the transfer portal. But you look at a team, a lot of other programs, like Indiana is the best example of this. Look how good Indiana is, how great Kurt Signetti has been with the transfer
unbelievable.
portal.
Yeah.
Like he was the head coach at James Madison, and he took a whole bunch of James Madison players to Indiana, and that's why they got so good. So, and it's the same thing with Texas A&M. I mean, Texas A&M's two best wide receivers were both from the transfer portal. I mean, if not for the transfer portal, I don't know if A&M's even a playoff team, let alone one of the best teams in the country. Well, so it goes both ways.
It's no longer about scouting anymore, picking these players up. Well, let me just, and again, this goes back to the dumb theory I bring up of free agency, because essentially, I don't like my players. I'll reach to another school and see if I can get and convince them to come here. And by the way, let me offer them $1 million or $2 million on top of that. Or if I'm Bryce Underwood, let me offer you $13 million, which is the most absurd thing in the entire world. College athletes should not be making that type of money, in my opinion.
Like, why not?
They're not prepared to make that type of money. That's why.
Are like 19-year-old NBA players prepared to make millions?
There's very few 19-year-old guys in the NBA.
Well,
there's even very few 19-year-olds making the NHL too.
I mean, Cooper Flagg. Baseball. Obviously, Cooper Flagg is the one rarity because he was such a incredible athlete that he came out right after the first semester of Duke. But my point is, these guys should not be making $12.5 million. They're not. First of all, like you said, pressure. That's a lot of pressure to put on a freshman quarterback. Oh, go ahead, go out there. We need you to win. And on top of that, we're giving you $12.5 million.
And that's been my long-standing thing about NIL is that I would hope that the NIL contracts that they're given, or the financial backing they're being given, they're using it for the right things. I've long believed, though, being around college athletics at the D2 and D1 level at, really small universities locally in Southern California where I live, is, maybe it's the ordeal of like they're in between pay periods from their 9 to 5 when they're not in class, and that they need to maybe fill up the gas tank, grab food, something. Not they'll like to, pay. I mean, if you want to pay off the house, but at least be smart with the money is what I'm getting at.
I mean,
I get that, but like that's the same thing is true of any professional athletes. I mean, how many professional athletes come from nothing and get thrown millions right away? Like, can they handle that money? I mean, the truth is, professional athletes handle money a lot better now than they used to because they have they have a lot of people around them that handle finances for them, and they also make more money, so they don't go as broke as easily.
It's true. That's a good tease for benchmarks, by the way.
Well, yeah,
it's true though. Professional athletes don't go broke nearly as much as they used to because they make so much more money.
The one difference I would say also is that athletes are investing much earlier than they did way back when. Like, you're not going to see like an Allen Iverson or an Antoine Walker who go completely broke, and because they didn't invest in anything, like they're not living off of anything. Today's athletes are investing from the time they enter the professional leagues because they're
they're better educated.
Yeah, and I was just going to say though too that Morganson and I've talked on press show about how a lot of athletes now are taking ownership or investment stakes in soccer teams or in pro sports in general across the board.
A lot of European teams, they take a lot of ownership percentages in. So.
And some domestic as well, though, too.
Right.
Jimmy Butler in San Diego, for example. Manny Machado in San Diego, for example.
Right. So they all have prior investments. Or you're like a Kevin Durant or a LeBron James who own a production company, like Kevin Durant with the boardroom, or LeBron James with Uninterrupted, or all these other.
That used to never happen.
Like now, well, you know why they did that, right? Why they started doing that? Because the reason they started doing it is because like guys like Durant and LeBron had figured out, why am I going to give my exclusives to ESPN and let them make all the money? Let me do my own production company. Let me control my own announcement. I can make the sponsors. I can get the money from my own production element. Think about what, and this is a lower example, but just to use us for an example, would you rather go to ESPN and make them all the money, or would you rather eventually, when we grow to a point and we have the ability to control every single show and content piece that we have, we make everything and we are have disposable income of everything compared to what an ESPN does?
Here.
Yeah, I agree with that. Obviously, they also have the power. Like they also have a lot more power than we do. So
No,
it's
I'm just saying from the long run of when you control your own production elements.
Oh, you're right about that.
Stuff, you get to make all the choices of everything. Like when they were going to ESPN and when LeBron did the decision, I think it was on ESPN, if I'm not mistaken, in prime time.
Yes, it was 2011.
And I think it was Jim Gray, who did the weird, awkward game show thing. All right, LeBron, what's your decision?
Yep.
And I don't know. It's an odd time we live in where athletes now control all their media situations. And
well, only a select few athletes control their media. I mean, LeBron,
Angel Reese, Nick.
LeBron, Durant. Yeah, Angel Reese has a podcast. I mean, Angel Reese is more well known
don't
for
get
her podcast than for being a basketball player. Like,
please don't, because
be starting something.
Draymond Green now has a podcast.
Okay, but at least Draymond Green has won 3 rings. Okay, Angel Reese has won nothing.
I mean, I don't care about that. I don't think that matters when it comes to who's allowed to have a podcast or not. I'm just saying.
No. Wait, let's not get it twisted. I didn't say anything about having a podcast. I said I think her podcast is way out of left field over here somewhere because she's trying to take in all the accolades and all the fame before winning anything. Draymond Green at least has won 3 rings and can say, "Oh, I won on the court. I can do whatever I want now off the court."
That's also fair. And I don't really have much of an issue with players having podcasts because doing a podcast doesn't take that much time. I mean, we all have full-time jobs.
People in social media how many times they say to us, podcast equipment must be cheap, which
it's like, first of all, I can't imagine saying something any more unoriginal. Like, how many times have you seen almost word for word that exact comment? It almost leads me to believe that bots are typing it. And also, it's like, what do you think podcasting equipment is? So let's say they did make podcasting equipment more expensive and you pay like $1,000 for a laptop. You're not going to be too happy about it. Because quite literally, all podcast equipment is a laptop and access to the internet. That's really all it is.
So I have to read
a laptop. You use your phone, for Christ's sake.
I have to read you a comment that I got because I had put up the FP5 clip about you guys talking about Ohio State and Michigan and the big game. And the first comment we got was, quote, "We should have a podcast. What should we talk about? Sports. Great idea."
Wait, what comment was this on?
It was on the network post. I put up on that clip.
Was it on TikTok? It was probably on TikTok.
Yes,
it's always TikTok.
And of course, because I get snappy at people sometimes when they write stupid things. So I said, "What an original insult! Did you come up with that comeback, or did your parents help you with that?"
Yeah, I mean, it's like I don't understand why people use like unoriginal insults.
I mean, I'll say this much is that the player podcast can be a bit of a double-edged sword. Morgan and I have talked about that regarding Paul George, for example, having his.
Well, he canceled it finally.
And he basically called it off after the Sixers season went off the rails. I know Mookie Betts has his, and the big stink was about him having, Padre players on during, like the week of them playing each other over a weekend series, and that's when I think they had the brawls break out in June, and fans are like, why are you talking to, players on the opposing team? You're supposed to hate each other's guts. Like, no, did we forget that these players actually are colleagues underneath the, Players Association and the league umbrellas and stuff. But I think though it can be a double-edged sword though. Like if it's a Paul George ordeal where you're not really focused on gameplay. Now, again, was Paul injured at the time? Probably, but at least he was smart enough to cancel it. Again, I don't mind it though, as long as people aren't out here airing out grievances against former teams, teammates, or airing out people's personal lives or dirty laundry.
No, I agree. And by the way, the player podcast thing, is it going to get oversaturated at some point? Yes, it already has. And I saw it, Nick. I saw you make the
I'm
reaction.
looking at some of these comments. I'm amazed. Actually, why is it that all of the wrong predictions that we make are the ones that blow up, but none of the correct ones?
No, my
Because
favorite
people always love to prove that you're wrong.
No, my
But like,
favorite
here's the
was
thing,
that.
though. Here's the thing. It's like if you're gonna say I'm wrong, don't wait until after the result to say
Yes.
that I'm wrong. Say you are wrong before it happens, rather than just like piling on afterwards. Anybody can pile on after the fact.
My favorite is when we had those 2 ridiculous Game 7 World Series clips blow up on TikTok, and people were begging on me. Like, remember, Callan? Like,
Yes.
huge. Because I went after Joe Davis, the Fox broadcaster, because he was calling the World Series. And I said, oh, I'm tired of this nonsense. And people after the fact, because I said they were biased to the Dodgers, and people were like, well, I guess you want to take your comment back because the Blue Jays won the because the Dodgers won the World Series.
Doesn't this prove anything?
I'm like, that doesn't prove anything. That doesn't prove whether he's a good or a bad broadcaster.
Yeah, what? By the way, so there's also, I guess this could be like an addition of the comments section. By the way, 99% of it seems to be on TikTok.
Yes.
So this is when I was talking about how I hate the automatic bids in the college football playoffs. And somebody comments, breaking news, fan hates the sport.
Yes.
I mean, it's like, that's like saying if I criticize how my favorite team is run, that means I hate the team.
Yes.
I don't understand what that even means. Like, so if I don't like the way something is run, that means I hate the sport. That's really stupid.
Apparently.
Somebody else commented, they'll never get in with a chance. They'll always find a way to put in an SEC team. We never have a problem in basketball when conference champions get in. I mean, I didn't even address that third sentence, but I commented from the Forever Power 5 account, tell that to Cincinnati in 2021.
Oh, yeah.
14 playoff. Cincinnati got in with a 14 playoff.
Yeah.
And so that's just not true. They could have put in another SEC team, but they didn't. So that's obviously not true. And UCF was ranked 12. Somebody else, and then somebody else, the same guy commented, I bet you that UCF team wouldn't have made it. Boise State with Kellen Moore, no chance. The Boise State with Kellen Moore team was a little before my time. I don't totally remember, but the UCF team was ranked 12. So with a 12-team playoff, that UCF team would have gotten in.
Right. I mean,
that's just not true.
It's funny reading the comments just on TikTok because I think sometimes people just say things because they want to get under your skin or they want to say stupid things. And then like as soon as I respond with something back to them and then I don't hear back, I'm like, oh, that's good. You didn't have a comeback to mine.
Like the point is that like, and then they said like the same guy said that we never have a problem in basketball when conference champions get in. I mean, basketball
68 team field.
Nimrod,
come on now.
68 team. It's completely different. You're not getting 68 teams in football, and the games are different. Basketball's 5-on-5, 12 guys on a roster. Football's completely different. Football's 52 guys on a roster. You can't compare the two sports. Like college football and college basketball are so much different. They're not remotely similar. It would be like if you said it would almost be like if you said, I think in the NFL they should play 162 games like they do in baseball.
No,
oh God,
that's essentially
that'd be extreme load management, Morgeson.
It would be impossible to do in football. It'd be impossible to do in basketball.
Sports would physically die if they had to play 162 games, like literally.
That's the comparison. That's the level of. That's the level of thinking that it takes.
By the way, talking of physically dying, not literally, but Sauce Gardner suffering another injury on the field again. Like I told you, this guy's not worth it.
That's why I like the move. I mean, not because he got injured, but because I just don't think Sauce Gardner is that good.
I think I think a bunch of you twisted my comments partially on that when I was angry about the Jets trades. I'm just tired of the team just trading away everybody.
But do you think it was a good move?
No, I didn't. Because
getting tired of the Jets constantly being sellers and whether or not they should have made that trade are two completely different things.
Why did you sign him for that money if you're just going to trade him?
That's my only criticism is that they signed him for that money. That's the only criticism I would have made.
Ridiculous amounts of money, too.
Is your criticism that they signed him or that they traded him?
Both. I think both, because the reason I say both is because, okay, you could have chosen not to sign him for that money and then figured out another way to fill it. But you signed him and then you traded him away.
But it doesn't even matter anymore because the Jets don't owe them that money. The Colts is their problem now. So who cares? Like, it doesn't matter.
I'm tired of this team being so bad. I can't, like, and of course, when we need them to lose games, they win a game. Figure that one out.
Yeah. Well, that's very typical of the Jets.
What were the other things that we had there was a media story, which I did put in there.
Oh, can we talk about the Vikings a little bit?
Yeah, go ahead.
The Vikings are such a badly run franchise. I've never seen a team move on from quarterback so quickly. They had Daniel Jones and Sam Darnold last year. They didn't hold on to either of them and put all their eggs in the J.J. McCarthy basket.
I knew that was a mistake as soon as they did it, too. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, is there any team that could have screwed up as badly as they did with Sam Darnold?
I mean, can we see J.J. somehow maybe demanding a trade at some point out of Minnesota?
What
if he's ever healthy.
What?
What leverage does J.J. have?
But I'm saying, like, he's a top wide receiver. Now, he does get hurt a lot. I do agree. But he's got to find a new team. Like, that team is never going to win.
You're talking about Jefferson?
Yeah, Jefferson. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said McCarthy.
Because of initials. But yes.
Okay, yeah. Justin Jefferson.
Yeah. He needs to get out of there. Like,
he's in a terrible position right now. But the Vikings were one of the best teams in the league last year. And then they moved on from Darnold because he played 2 bad games, thinking that like J.J. McCarthy was going to be the next guy. But J.J. McCarthy wasn't even that good in college.
Yeah, look how he's doing in Seattle now, by the way, Sam Darnold. I mean, like,
he's unbelievable. He's like a top 10 quarterback this year. Like J.J. McCarthy wasn't even that good in college. He was average.
I mean, I would
on a good team.
Not at the top of the discussion, but I would put Sam Darnold at the bottom of the MVP discussion slightly.
Yeah. Absolutely unbelievable. Because the Vikings, they would have a shot to at least win the division if they kept Darnold.
Well, look how they played with Darnold when he was there. I mean, it was a totally different team.
They lost they beat every team that they played.
Yes.
That's literally what it was. Like, they only lost to the Lions and I think the Packers. I think
you're right. They were
15-2, right?
Yeah, they were. Yeah, I think they were 15-2. You're right. They were an incredible team. They just had some bad luck in the playoffs, but
they just had a few final. 14-3 they went.
Oh, 14-3. But they just didn't play well in the playoffs. That was the only issue. But he had an incredible season. It was it was a turnaround of all turnarounds, and that was him coming off. When he was sitting on the bench in San Francisco. Going to Minnesota?
Yeah.
Like, where basically he was sitting on a bench waiting for no pun intended, looking for a team. And finally finds one, gets an opportunity. He was looking to kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Rejuvenate his career from what happened with the Jets being a high draft pick. What was he, first or second overall? Or third? I can't remember.
He was third. Darnold was third. Saquon was 2. Baker was 1.
Man. But he needed an opportunity. Seattle gave him an opportunity, and he's making the best of it now because I think Seattle has a chance to go far.
And maybe win a division title.
I mean, I still think the Rams are the best team, even though they lost to the Panthers earlier today.
I think so, too.
I think Stafford is the MVP, the way he's been playing also.
You know what? I think you got a point. I think Stafford. I always thought Stafford was a very underrated player.
But he's had what, like 4 to 5 touchdown games already this year? I mean,
yeah, he's unbelievable.
I mean, what is he?
An unbelievable year.
Was he like 37 years old now or something? Like
something like that.
He's on the older side. And the only knock I had on him throughout his career is that he never left the pocket. That was the big knock. Like, he would take sacks over getting out of the pocket.
He's a little bit more of an old school quarterback. Much more.
Yeah.
And he's one of the few that can still do it pretty well. One of the few. I mean, Darnold doesn't leave the pocket very much. Neither does Goff. So you have a few guys that don't run very often. But
I think Darnold finally learned that he has to do it a little bit or else he's going to
He still runs more than like Eli or Peyton did.
Well, Eli had – I always say this about Eli, but he's got cement feet. like in the pocket. Like he never.
Or Phillip Rivers trying to scramble back in the day for the San Diego Chargers.
Oh, Phillip Rivers. But I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. I hope Darnold goes far and he has the opportunity to prove like New York Jet fans wrong because they were nasty to him. But
I'm seeing ghosts.
Yeah, I mean Gino's come back down to earth, hasn't he?
I mean, Gino got his money though, so do you think he really cares?
I mean, no, but maybe I thought maybe he had a little more left in him.
Once he got his deal with Seattle, that's all that mattered. He made the $100 million contract, and he basically said, "I'm good. I don't need to do anything else anymore.
I'm set for life."
But him and the Raiders, and Pete Carroll is the head coach. He's going to get fired after year one, I think.
I don't know. I mean, I don't even know how much of this you can even really blame on Pete Carroll.
He should have never taken the job.
Well, look, I think he wanted to go back into coaching. The quarterback was really, really bad. It's hard to blame this on the head coach, to be honest. I mean, I think the team.
Bill Belichick to the Raiders.
No. No.
Tom Brady out of retirement to become the new quarterback.
Well, wait, honest question. How much more like value does Bill Belichick have if he breaks up with his girlfriend? Because I feel like that's the albatross around his neck.
If
you were to ask somebody why they don't want Belichick,
we don't want to deal with the girlfriend.
See how long it takes them to mention his girlfriend, because that would be like 2 or 3 on the list.
Did you see the 60 Minutes interview that he did behind the scenes? She was literally standing like behind the area watching the interview as it was being done. And
I remember.
They were asking him about something in his coaching career, and she made them stop the interview. She said, "He's not answering that question."
Yeah, he's like, we're not talking about that.
Are you a man or are you what are you? Like,
really weird.
But
really weird.
And people really thought he was going to work at Chapel Hill. I'll take the W on that one.
I think he's going to get fired. I think he's going to get fired. I just don't put him back in media. He was much funnier in the media anyway. Like where he can actually talk football, but I don't know. Let's see. How much more time do we have? Well, we're kind of at an hour, but
10 minutes left. We can go.
But I brought up I'm sure you saw the story I brought up about Barstool, right?
Barstool?
Yeah, I wrote it. Yes. I wrote it in the
There's always something new with Barstool. What was it?
Oh, KFC Radio's ended.
Oh, KFC Radio. That's right.
So they had announced over this week, last week, that their show is officially coming to an end, and January 1st starts a new project for them. Yeah. And that was on top of BFF's ending and Kirk Minahan's show ending. Yep. I don't know what's going on at that company as of late.
Well, BFF's we already knew was going to end.
It was a dying breed, that show.
BFF's, they were talking about BFF's ending for the past year.
Well, it was a show run by Dave, essentially.
And Dave didn't want to do it anymore because he's a little too old. He felt he was a little too old to be on a podcast like that, which I kind of agree.
It was the TikTok generation. That's what the show was.
But the show was pretty good. I mean, I liked it. They could have continued without him if Dave didn't want to do it anymore.
Well, they did for, I think, like a year or two.
I mean, our shows are longer than BFF's. I mean, BFF's was like a 40-minute show with 3 people. I mean, our shows are longer. Our shows are like an hour long.
It was longer than that, I think.
Oh, maybe I'm misremembering.
I think it was close to an hour. Each episode was close to an hour, and they got the biggest guests in the space. So I don't know what their complaints were, but
yeah, I mean, a lot of them.
Well, what's her name? What's her name? The co-host had the drama with Zach Bryan.
Brianna Chicken Fry.
Yes.
Yeah. It sounds like it was Zach Bryan though. Like it sounds like Zach Bryan's really toxic.
Oh, he's a douche, like big time.
It sounded like it had a lot more to do with him than her. That's what it sounds like.
And then what's the other guy's name? Josh Richards, I think, was the other guy's.
He was a TikTok star.
He was a TikTok star. Then he became an investment mogul type person. And
he was actually Josh Richards. He was on Carton and Roberts.
Yes.
He had like a weekly spot with Carton and Roberts.
Because they were trying to reach the younger listening audience.
Yeah, I don't know how well that really worked.
It didn't work because I think they only did it for a couple months.
Yeah, they didn't do it for long, but yeah, he did have a weekly spot on Carton and Roberts.
Go ask WFAN how WFAN is doing right now.
Are they in bad shape?
Keith McPherson left the 7.
That was the weirdest thing. That was out of nowhere that Keith McPherson left.
He wasn't fired.
Doing overnights.
What? He wasn't fired though.
No.
He left on his own.
He left on his own. And now on the WFAN
they're
Facebook
doing
groups, people are saying nice things about him now that he left. So they only say nice things about hosts after they leave.
So he got destroyed always when he was on air because he was a little bit more of like a snappy, like I can't think of the best way to describe it. Like he gave you the honesty. People did not like that.
Yeah.
And I think part of it had to do with some other reasons too, which we don't like talking about in this space.
No, I don't think it's that. I think that every host is hated on. He was hated on just like every other host. I think that's really what it was.
You know where he came from originally, right?
John Boy.
Yes. So he was a John Boy product.
My only question though is that like he left this really good gig with WFAN. It's not even like he's working overnights. He was working what 7 to 12, I think.
You and I both know this from working those type of shifts. It's tough to work those shifts.
It's not an overnight shift though. It's not like that. I mean, I'm not. I don't want to like diminish how tough it might be as like a father, but like he wasn't. It's not like he was working till 6 in the morning.
I think from what he said, he's like, I want to put my kid to sleep. I want to see my wife like while they're still awake. Like,
yeah.
Like, so I think it was just like a family and mental health type thing. Having to be on air 7 to midnight, Monday through Friday is tough.
It is. But also, how is he like, he must have other ways of making money.
I have no idea, but
that is the question.
I only knew Keith for when they had Off Base on MLB Network in the afternoon before they moved it to a podcast.
That's right. He was on MLB Network temporarily for a period.
Yeah, it was not a weird show, but like it had Lauren Gardner and Xavier Scruggs and Ariel Epstein, Hannah Kaiser, and then
a lot of the gambling on it. A lot of the gambling people too.
And then eventually the program got moved to a podcast form after 1 or 2 years of operation.
But I think what you were trying to say, Nick, is like they're putting in a bunch of like the weekend people or whatever to do like the 7 to midnight, or they're putting McGonagall now on.
Look, they got a lot of people they could put on to fill the shift.
It's all cheap help that are producers that want to be on air, so they don't pay them a lot of money because they're on air. That's first of all, that company is in the shitter.
All the producers, though. I think all the producers want to be on the air. I think almost all of them do.
Well, if you listen to most of the shows, a lot of they talk back to their like I'm talking about like where they talk back and forth on the show. They include the producers in the show.
They do
all the time. Look at Boomer and Gio.
I think those are the only producers that don't have like any on-air aspirations.
Al Dukes. Al and Jerry do the morning hour before.
Yeah, but I don't think Al Dukes has that much of a desire to be a host.
He didn't want to do it, essentially. Yes.
But I mean, outside of the warm-up show, which he does with Jerry, but like it's not really much.
Because I'm trying to think of the other. Oh, Pete Hoffman, I think, who's the midday.
Yeah,
producer. He's on air on the weekends. I'm trying to think of the others. This is such boring podcasting content, I know. But I'm trying to think who else is on air. The one I like. What?
Pete Hoffman. Big Zoo has been on the air a lot.
Yeah, I've heard him a little bit. But the one I like that's on the weekends that's not a producer is actually Danielle McCartan, actually. Cool.
Yeah, but she's only part-time.
Well, she's a gym teacher and an Italian teacher at a school district. That's why.
Yeah. You'd think that like she'd rather like leave that job to do, FAN full-time, but
well, I don't know if she was ever offered full-time.
Yeah, I don't know.
They had her doing national shows over the last week, actually, also. But it's weird, though, because that side of the business is starting to crumble down. And like a lot of local affiliated stations are taking on more national shows. And so more and more people are losing their jobs in radio, unfortunately.
No, that's definitely true. Although I still work in radio, so I'm still good.
Yeah, but the whole KFC radio thing, I think they just had enough. The podcast has been on like 13 years.
It's been a long time.
And I think they just said, all right, enough. According to KFC, the show plateaued in numbers that they were getting. So if a show plateaued,
what's he going to do though now?
I have no idea, to be honest. He made his money when they sold the company until Dave bought it back for $1. He got quite a few $1 million off because he had shares in the company.
Yeah.
So he made a lot of money. Big Cat made a lot of money. PFT made a lot of money. They're doing this more for leisure than they are for career.
Thanks a lot, Fox Sports.
Well, they have a deal with Fox now because like Dave's on
Wake
Big
up Barstool every morning.
That show is awful. Wake Up Barstool. Like, I don't think they're doing it for the actual show. I think Fox and FS1 is doing it for the social clips that they get out of it digitally.
Well, and maybe they're just too damn lazy to find an actual new morning talk show.
Well, no, that's the big thing that they're all doing. Everyone's licensing to everybody now rather than paying and putting together production for a new show. So they're just going to license out to companies. Look at, Nick, I don't know if you heard of VSiN before, the Vegas Stats and Information Network.
Yes, I have.
So it used to be a Sirius channel. Now they run it on their own. VSiN like licenses their shows all over the map to different networks.
Yeah.
So that's where all the business is going now. Like, why create a new show when I could just license it and take in my own ad rev that I build off a show that's already popular?
Correct.
So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Before we go, since I have you both sitting in the same room here,
what?
Why don't we talk about what's going on in January 5th and January 10th? So, Kellen, I'll let you go first since you're here.
We hope you're ready. We've been teasing it. We're still teasing it. We're going to be teasing it, but we are bringing the Playback Lounge to your screens, bringing you a 2-hour kind of semi-late night, late night out here on Mondays, and a kind of early evening edition with Nick DiMartino starting January 10th. This is a full resurrection in a way of a podcast I hosted years ago. Underneath the Sports Lounge branding, but now we're slapping the Playback brand onto it. Something I thought could fill some voids on late nights on Mondays when we're done with the NBA, for example, on Monday nights. But the show format's been kind of tweaked, though, to feel like you're enjoying a night out with your friends at the bar, talking all things sports. You're eavesdropping on one conversation here, on another one there. So we're going to start that up January 5th with our Monday edition at 9 o'clock Pacific. And then Mr. DiMartino takes over Saturday nights to kind of, in a way, get you ready for the weekend. And then we come out of the weekend into a new week every Monday. So that is where we're going to be going come January 5th and January 10th.
Yeah, so the version on the 10th is more the East Coast vibe time of it. Nick, you have some possible comedian type friends that...
Yes, I have a lot of comedian friends that can definitely, or not a lot, but a few that can definitely join the show regularly and be a part of the panel, so to speak.
That's the other thing, Kellen, I think you left out too. Like, this is a very panel-based...
It's very panel-driven, which is nice. Again, we're working on the West Coast lineup for right now. We got Christy. We might have Liam, who might be able to join us as well. So we're also building out, our roster for that. We're building it out for Saturday. But again, it literally came to me a couple times. I've told the story to Morganson several times, but usually after I work events at the sports arena here in San Diego, we have a Chili's bar and grill in our arena parking lot. So after games on the weekends, I'll go over with my boss or with some colleagues or by myself. I'll go there, eat post-game dinner, drink a few beers, and watch some games. But as I've gone there for 10 years, after almost every game, you learn, though, that when you're there, you're hearing people who are sports fans talk about games that they were at, games they're watching. And I recently, came to the conclusion, this should be how I bring my original program back. We slap the Playback brand on it, and we make this into a late night 2-hour sports talk show. Saturdays will be more like early evening on the West Coast, but perfect, though, for the Eastern time zone, though, where it's at. And literally, we just serve up a bunch of, questions, basically, to our panel, and you get a bunch of different perspectives from people who are just enjoying their night out watching sports.
Also, if you're expecting a very politically correct, clean show,
No.
Sorry, you're in the wrong spot.
I don't think any of our shows are politically correct and clean.
Except
some
for,
more than others, but you know,
except for a brand you were on before here. But
that was even worse than that. But yes,
that took politically correct to a whole new level. Anyway, but yeah, the joke I think I made to Callan a week or so ago was that you could slap a TV MA rating on this show for the most part.
Yes.
So if you think you're coming in to listen to a clean show, don't. It's not going to happen. So that'll be probably 8 to 10. That's kind of where we were discussing on Saturday nights. Obviously, yours will be midnight to 2 a.m. Eastern on Sunday into Monday. So that's coming. Oh, I forgot to mention one more thing since I brought that up. Nick, did you see that they're doing an exclusive YouTube late night show starting next year?
No.
It's so like all the crappy shit late night shows you see on NBC and ABC. They're now doing it on YouTube. They're going to have an exclusive YouTube late night program out in New York, and it's going to be done outside at Central Park for whatever reason. But they're doing an exclusive YouTube late night show because they think they have to get in the late night business.
Interesting. Hey, we want to get into that business too.
I don't know, but I don't know. Anything else before we run out of here, or no?
No, I'm good.
So
I gotta go take a shit. So
thanks for sharing.
Speaking of the TVMA rating, perfect segue for when the lounge debuts for Nick DiMartino on January 10th.
Yeah.
If you're eating, maybe not, but whatever.
I don't know. We have 7 people watching right now. I don't know if any of them are eating, but
and they get to come on back in 3 hours to watch Nick and Morganson and I break down the WNBA lockout.
That's right, because the WNBA lockout hits at midnight tonight. So
8:59 Pacific time.
We might have a WNBA lockout, an MLB lockout. Any other lockouts we should be aware of?
I think that's it.
No, that's
the NHL. The NHL has a new CBA kicking in next year for the next 5 years, so we're good.
By the way, Denver's up 6-0. I have now that I have my TV in my office here.
Yes.
So it's 6-0.
No big play is still alive and well.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna let him go take care of that in the meantime.
All right. See you guys.
Okay, we'll see you around.